Guys, and welcome to the month of Aquarius. So Aquarian energy is the 11th energy, so this is going to be very important what kind of goals we set this month. You can see different segments of your life. What is your journey, what is happening with your family, where is your prosperity lying, what you should be doing to increase your chances of looking good, and what is, like, for example, residing in your love and marriage house. And if you guys want your private reading, and if you waited for a special with me, this is the time. So basically what's happening right now, it is upgraded. So the regular readings, which usually takes about 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going to turn around in a week. So you're going to get a price of a regular, you're going to get a rush reading. If you order a rush reading to get it within or under a week, you're going to get it within 3 days. And if you order an urgent reading, which is usually 3 days delivery, you're going to get it within 24 hours. So just book a regular reading or rush reading or urgent reading, and that's going to be upgraded. So to book the reading, check my website www.cattarot.ca. Without much further ado, let's jump into your monthly reading. Hi Capricorn, welcome to your February forecast. So let's see how this eclipse is going to affect you and what February brings, etc, etc. Let me first tell you the cards that you have. You have the Chariot reversed here and here. You have Queen of Pentacles, which is you. You have the World. You have Queen of Cups. You have Five of Pentacles reversed. You have an Ace of Pentacles, creativity. You have Nine of Swords reversed. You have Justice reversed. Then you have Ten of Swords. And you have the Devil, which is also you, and Eight of Wands. So these three cards kind of like jumped in lieu of the very last card. And we are going to get to a vibration later. So let me tell you what I see. I kind of like see that maybe there was an issue in legal ways. Maybe you were sort of like getting to like hitting a dead end all the time. Maybe you realize that you have been a little bit naive over things, and that kind of has cost you in more ways than one. One is like losing your sleep and losing your presence, but like this kind of whole issues and feeling that you always have to be sharp, that you always have to be on the go. It kind of like created lots of mental disturbances. Definitely I'm seeing this judge, I'm seeing this judgment. There are definitely some issues that you are either contemplating or you're going through the legal process, and you maybe entered this period but by sort of like getting a short end of the stick and sort of like scratching your head over that to what did you miss, which stone you didn't unturn, right? Like what basically happens. But things are turning around. It could have been something also that your family was supporting you, but simply what happened in the situation that there was inadequate knowledge, and definitely your money was affected over here. The central card, Five of Pentacles, is telling me that actually you'll be recovering from this. This is actually a really speedy recovery. But before I go into this, I just want to point out to you that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 majors. And I did say in the other videos, the very This time around, I was kind of like starting 2018 in a kind of like very spiritual way. I said to myself, I am not going to do this like I'm in Aries, Taurus, Gemini, right? Cancer. I will go and let spirit guide me. So I was actually taking cards before every reading and asking, is this the right time? Am I getting all this information I need for that sign? And I would get and read the first sign that kind of like gave me the green light. Well, you were supposed to be the very first sign, and I was not given the green light at all. And now I see why. You have the biggest karmic lesson, and maybe it hasn't been baked back then for you, like when I started about 15 days ago, and now it is. So the message is very clear. You are going through a huge karmic shift. You are becoming yourself. Devil means codependency in many, many ways, but in your case, you are actually healing that codependency. There was like this feeling of connection to something or to someone that has been unhealthy, or you're really seeing that maybe you could have done things in a completely different way. So let's kind of like talk a little bit more about this Five of Pentacles here. So Five of Pentacles, guys, indicates finally the end of these bad times. Whatever happened, whether you have been harmed, it doesn't look like you were harmed too much emotionally, but the entire process left you sort of like puzzled about, you know, who you really are. Not to the point that you would lose yourself. Kind of like really this kind of is a very healthy approach, that in the midst of something that hasn't worked your way, you're saying, you know what, I'll keep going. What do we have? We have like really poor kitties that actually don't have a home and are trying to kind of like really find their way in the snow, right? But this kind of reverses. So this kind of indicates the end to difficult times, particularly if you suffered, let's say, major financial loss or job loss. But this card is always significating that you may find new sources of income, new job, and that even though everything looks it's against you, there is like actually silver lining in that situation. So somebody might be offering you sort of like help while you get back on your feet, and you may be starting to feel as your life is finally worth living again, and you'll be regaining your self-confidence, because after all, you will be coming on top, even though like things actually worked against you. When this comes out, it's a karma card. It always says, now I'm testing you if you're going to take justice in your own hands, because if you do, karma is not going to kind of like teach you the lesson that you are supposed to be taught. But if you don't, then you're going to pass the lesson and move forward. So let's see what you guys do. So hope is going to be renewed in the situation, and definitely Five of Pentacles is talking about that being in the central position, right? The reversed Five of Pentacles sometimes indicate inner spiritual kind of like lack of like or poverty, right? It also can represent that maybe you isolated yourself, that you're alone. Even if you're surrounded with people, you still kind of like feel like an island, right? And for the others, it could feel that you're completely out of place and that you're struggling to put a finger on what the heck is going on, right? Now, when the pentacles show up, it is basically saying that the spiritual kind of like part is not necessarily tended to, because you actually have overwhelmingly earth. Look at this. Earth, 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 earth. Then you have some air. Then you have very little water here. Now, let's talk about the cards that are sort of like bottom of the decks and underlying energy. You have the Hangman reverse, and you also have the Chariot reverse, which you also have here. So thinking about the past and the future, like, you see, Chariot is kind of like really, like, I mean, I hope you like this Visconti deck, which I don't know how many of you know, this is the original deck, not this one. It's a reproduction. So it's better to say it's a reproduction of the original deck, first deck of tarot, which kind of dates back to the 13th century. And all these cards had like very specific meanings, and we are still trying to figure them out today. And of course we are like working with them as the secret language of kind of like archetypes, which kind of transcend time and place. So see, the Chariot is basically the card that would tell us to that we are moving forward from maybe choices that we have made. And sometimes the choices we make in life are good, sometimes they are bad. In both instances, you had this card reversed. So it sounds to me that maybe somebody else made decisions for you, and as a result, you got stuck. And like you're more spending time feeling anxiety coming your way and failing to learn the lesson. This is the only card that really worries me, because look at it, you're showing up even here. You're more focused into material, which kind of would make sense, because it looks like that somebody really cost you quite a bit of money and that you kind of like felt really foolish about it. So like usually when we feel lack, we kind of rush to that point and we are trying to kind of replenish that kind of like well. But Hangman is usually saying the sacrifice had to be made, right? And sometimes it's a very willing, actually most of the time it's like a really willing sacrifice. You know, for example, if you get married, you're not going to be able to do everything. You cannot bring 25 cats home. You have to talk it to your basically spouse or to your better half. Well, what do you think? And you know, you have to kind of like reach this balance and agreement. So it looks for you like the first part over here is like really showing a huge imbalance, and you're trying to find your sea legs. You're really trying to stabilize yourself, especially in the area or where and how do I go forward. You are not necessarily looking from all the angles. You're not looking kind of like what was the bigger message in this whole situation. And you know what, sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you're just like putting one foot in front of another. You just like want to keep going. So you will move forward. Like maybe your plan will work, because I'm seeing the world, which is also the earth. And this means, you know what guys, you did not take justice in your hand. And if you're planning to do that, this is warning not to do that, because without doing that and just like letting things go and revolve with however they were planned from above, you're actually getting to the next stage, and it's saying well done. So when this happens, well done, you're getting to the next phase, and I can see this is confirming that you're actually entering. And your next phase is going to be something you'll be building really, really long term. Because look at this little kitty, Safi, just needs to move that little barrier and move forward to this new adventure. This ace from all aces is the one that resonates with your sign the most. It talks about stabilization, right? So the earth is spinning, and now you're giving a new choice and you're giving new abilities, and it's basically forecasting really good things happening. Now, interestingly enough, your reading is actually very interesting. It has like so many layers. I mean, even like offering the same card, telling me that you kind of like really wanted to move something forward and something got stuck. So check this out. Like, these cards are not randomly painted and numbered. Like, all of them have really big sense in them. So you have to kind of like take all these elements. So this is 21, right? 2 and 1 is 3. This is 12. 1 and 2 is 3. And this is 3. So these 3 cards are the closest relatives. They're basically 3s that we see over here. So this talks about the Empress over here, where you're going into kind of somebody who is finally kind of like reaching her potential, because you're on your way. You're on your way here, right? I'm seeing that you're stabilizing in spite of everything. There is like this zest for moving forward, saying, oh, screw it, what happened happened. And it says here, heal thyself. There is this faith that you have inside, that you do know that there are better days for you. That faith separates winners from losers, and you right now are a winner, even though in spite of maybe a situation where you look like that you have lost. So now we're having these 3 layers. This means, look, instead of going from grade 1 to grade 2 to grade 3 in 1 month, you're jumping 3 grades. So this is how big this month is for you. The Hangman is the only one reversed. So it is still saying that this is still the lesson for you to look into, because you have to see how your actions now, because you for now realize that other people's actions affected you, that where you got here is the result of the long line of your parents, and it looks like there was a relationship that kind of like left its mark, and you're kind of like moving forward to this point. Now, you also have to see and be aware that equally others look at you and how you affect them. And this is going to be a key realization this month for you. Because check this out, you also have 9, you have 10 and 1 and world. This all means the shift is really taking place. And you maybe have felt kind of like broken down and neglected. Maybe you were trying to accomplish things and you just like couldn't catch a break. The Devil card, which is the Capricorn card, it's talking about codependency. It talks about a need for that physical structure, guided by lust, guided by money, guided by things. But for you, these 3 cards came together. So I actually have to see them together, because you are actually healing yourself from the codependency and possibly programming that has been placed upon you. Sometimes this programming that we have, especially women, the fairy tale syndrome, as I call it, it really affects us really negatively, because we are raised with Barbies, or we are told that we are special, and then we enter the real world, and the real world says, well, you're just like everybody else, and if you try to act special, then we get punished, or we end up being narcissistic. So it can go in all directions, right? Here, this is telling me that you are really at the stage healing and grounding yourself. You're becoming the woman who is sort of like very resourceful, who is saying, look, I don't have to have $1 million per year, but I can make it look as if I do. So decorating your place is going to be one of the themes. Sort of like setting a budget is going to be another one. When it comes to creativity, guys, this is like highly highlighted in your chart. When it comes to the other people, this is where this month is going to be a little bit tricky. So it is definitely asking that you open yourself up to healing, that you open yourself up to kind of like either counseling or meditations or mindfulness or yoga. There is like this corner that you still have to see it from the other side. And as far as the relationships, things are like just moving on. If you still have somebody that you're longing for, that you're kind of like processing all these thoughts in your head, why did that happen? Why did it happen to me? Why did she do that to me? Why would he behave this way? None of that is going to make sense. None of that is going to be important to you in a month from now, because this is like really good card. Grounding yourself. As I said, like you're going through all 3 layers of these kind of like messages of the 3, which is like this trillium, like I mean creativity, right? And you still have to go through this one stage where before like you really start moving forward and your healing has to also understand that in every situation we also affect the others. So the entire kind of like 360 has to be kind of like acquired over here. So it is actually a really good reading, guys. You from all the signs, and I can tell this now with 100%, because it's the last basically reading that I have for February. You guys are having the biggest turnaround from everybody, and it's not really, well, it is hard for some of us to kind of like deal with loss, especially when we feel that somebody wronged us. It is like sort of like a pride, and that pride is going to be very evident during this Leo transit that we have, this lunar eclipse, where kind of like we will just see a red, literally the red moon, right? The blood moon that we have. And it takes really big strength. It takes really conquering your own demons. It takes really kind of like uniting these two things inside of us. We all have good and bad inside of us, just we are choosing which one we take. So this is going to, that's why this is warning you, like you have to kind of like really push yourself a little bit more spiritually, looking those choices, figuring out how you really want to play them, and that's going to kind of like take you really to the next level. This card means not only are you healing, and even if you kind of like are not having relationships, something new might be budding, something new that is going to be built on proper grounds. And this is, guys, year number 11. And in year number 11, and we did get in my general reading, take a look at the end of this video. I'm attaching that video to this because it's going to tell you about numerology and how important is number 11. Number 11 is like 2 ones, but it's also 1 and 1 is 2. So it has this like male and female duality. Like balancing is very important, but it's also very important to not only heal yourself, but kind of like do that in a way that affects others positively. It's for you already starting. It's going to be a big shift. Capricorn, I can't wait to see the other months. I almost forgot. I actually want to take one more card for you and seal this reading. So let's see what I have here for Capricorn for February. Capricorn, February. Okay. Dry desert. Dry desert. It kind of like really gives me the same mood as like this 5 of Pentacles. I just can't escape kind of like to have this kind of feeling. So let's see what it says. It says, dig deep for inspiration and truth. Now it is the time to become resilient and adaptable. Is your life presenting you with opportunities that seem to yield nothing? Have your ideas dried up? Does it feel like you are on an endless journey through a dry, hot, lifeless desert? This card reminds you that there are times when you're meant to become resilient as you journey through harsher circumstances. You're being required to conserve your energy until, after consistent effort, you reach the oasis you're searching for. Consider the creatures that live in these conditions. They have adapted to thrive in spite of the outer environment. In a desert, water essential for life can be found deep underground. So, Capricorn, go deep within yourself now. Find your truth there. Let spirit sustain you while you locate the real source. Whatever it is you're asking about will not be found in the conditions you're in until you move past the surface of things and choose to do the real work and discover the answers deep within you. This may not seem like the most productive time, but looks are deceiving. This is a most important place to find what's truly right for you. And I think this summarizes it really, really nicely, my dear Capricorn. You're really turning in. You are kind of like really being like replenished, reborn, like, I mean, passing with flying colors. You are saying, okay, this too shall pass, and then it does pass, and it kind of takes you to the next stage. So resilience is the key, but this Queen of Pentacles that I was explaining to you, she is the one who is the most resilient from all the queens, because you have abandoned you being naive and not knowing your way around. Like right now, you're well aware, you know who you are, you know what you want, you know where you're going, and simply you're going to pretty much be a perfection, as close as this can be. Keep in mind that's a problem too, because you might be setting yourself up for failure. But fret not for now. Like, you're going through this process to kind of like pull these things together, and like healing from something deep inside that hasn't felt right. It takes usually years, so you guys are getting this in this month. So thank you so much for being here, being a subscriber. If you're not, please do subscribe, like and share, and your comments are always so eagerly anticipated. So hope to kind of like get your life story as well. Love you, Capricorn. Until the next time, all the best.